So, do Christians and Muslims worship the same God? This has been going around a lot, especially in ortho circles, um, because in the Catechism it says that Christians and Muslims worship the same God, and I guess a lot of Catholics are arguing with ortho bros now about it. And so this is just a quick little video on my take on it. And just to get it out up front, I do think that they do worship the same God. And I don't think it's as simple as just rejecting it at face value, because I think when people say that they don't worship the same God or they do worship the same God, I think a lot of the time they're just not meaning the same thing when they're speaking to each other. And I think that the people who say no, we don't worship the same God, are thinking something along the lines of they fundamentally reject the core tenet of what the Christian God is, which is that He came, He died for our sins, incarnated into a human being and whatnot. So what they're really saying is that in order to worship the same God, you have to have in mind that God's essential properties, um, or some essential facts about that God. So that's dealing with, it seems, with intention to me. And when I say intention, I'm talking about the extension intention distinction, or sense reference distinction. And with that in mind, that to me that seems obviously false because of all of the literature on sense reference. So I think what it boils down to is your idea of reference. And I don't think there's a single good idea of reference that supports the position that if you believe God exists, um, the Abrahamic God, that you're not worshiping the same God. And I think that's based off of two things. One of them has problems with it, but I think it's very widely used. It has a lot of utility, but I wouldn't use it as sort of just a principle, which is the causal theory of reference. And the idea is just that you can, if we trace the lineage of a causal series back to a certain point, if we're talking about that same cause, we're talking about the same thing in reality, whatever it be. And you can think of very practical examples like this, like uh, money is missing from a bank, and we're trying to find out what or who did it. Right? You don't have to get any essential properties right intentionally with uh, the distinction between extension and intention. So you don't have to get any of those properties right. Right? You can even be fundamentally incorrect about what species was in that bank that took the money. Right? You could be wrong that it wasn't a human being. It could have been a Kryptonian. It could have been a couple smart squirrels who went in there and robbed the bank. But there's still a sense in which it's intelligible because of the fact that we're talking about the same uh, moment in the causal series, that which is responsible in some sense for the money being gone. And I understand that has issues called series of power, um, called series of reference, sorry. But the second one that I think really solidifies it is um, with reference to intention, or the author's intention in a text. And so think about the Superman Clark Kent example, and I mean Voldemort, and I forgot his other persona. It's when he's a regular guy. But those seem intelligible in virtue of the fact that the author intended them to be the same. And when you look in Christianity and Islam, I think with Islam, the author is intending to describe the God of Abraham. And in Christianity, the author is intending to describe the God of Abraham. And they both agree one God exists. So there's a single God of a certain person they agree upon was praying to. They just disagree upon the properties. And that disagreement only seems intelligible to me in virtue of the fact of two facts really, which is that we're both pointing to some power in a causal series, and the fact that the authors intended to be talking about a certain person's God, and both of the authors are converging on that. If you disagree, which I'd love to hear another theory of reference, but just rejecting it at face value is what I'm trying to avoid with other people. Please, if you're gonna come with an objection or something, come with a thoughtful one. Because to me, it seems very obvious that it is the same God. You can have the same extension and different intention, and you don't have to get any fundamental properties about the thing correctly, it seems to me, at least in reference to intention.